So I don't actually have an opening or an intro for this video, so we can just call it episode 6 of our Liminal Space Image Analysis series, and we can take a look at some images on the Discord that were sent in. Okay. This first image is sent in by that one Backrooms guy, and they have a couple images of an abandoned prison they went to. And I would say out of all of these images, probably the first one is the best, just because it has a clear subject. You can actually see it with this shopping cart right here. Obviously there's other things in the background, and that's what makes the image what we would consider liminal, but you know, there's not really much else in the images. Also, each of the images, for some strange reason, has this weird digital overlay, this kind of aperture grill with these lines. I don't know if that is because of your camera or because you decided to add that. Either way, it doesn't really add anything to the images, so I would say maybe next time don't have these. I also would like to point out the fact that somebody went through all the effort of graffitiing out this little white triangle character just for someone to spray paint the word peen over it. I think that's pretty awesome, and I really relate with this guy over here. They actually submitted a couple more, and I thought we might as well go over these because they're actually kind of interesting. So we don't have the aperture grill anymore, but this image is heavily saturated. We can see that with the bright blue sky and the bright red, almost orange dolly cart thing here. I know it's not a dolly cart, I just don't know the appropriate name. And then this image is obviously edited. I kind of think it's pretty unique. It almost makes me want to mess around with sky and sky textures, see what color I can change it to, see what I can get. It looks like these two plane wings are actually different, so I'm going to assume that these are two separate instances. And now I'm wondering if you probably didn't, I mean, your profile picture is this image, so I really don't know. Now I'm even more confused. And then lastly, we have these three sky images. I like this one the best. It reminds me of like old Roblox skybox textures. So yeah, thanks again, that one Backrooms guy. So here we have Red Seagull, and they submitted quite the variety of images. The first 5 seem to be this type of mini golf, I'm assuming, with the different tracks and whatnot. And I think these images are really cool because they just showcase these people's artworks, because when you really think about it, these mini golfing places are artworks. I mean, they have to sculpt and paint this, and they have to physically make it. It's like making like a stage for a play. I mean, as we can continue, it's almost strange looking. I'm gonna assume they might have gotten these off the internet because these two just don't match at all. This one and this one matches. But I mean, just look at how wide and open this area is, and how there's just so much. You have this giraffe creature, which for some reason, that just doesn't look real to me. It looks like it's almost like CGI or something. And then right after these 5 images, they just submitted a little Roblox. That's Roblox. Yeah. Okay. Kind of cool. I like how it feels like a normal pool image, and then you kind of have the warehouse ceiling. I think that's a really nice choice to put for a ceiling, because it makes it feel very industrial and fake. So, solid. You have this twist warp effect. It's obviously a 3D render, a 3D model of some kind, but it's really trippy. I actually haven't seen any images like this. I mean, maybe a normal one, but never to this extent where you kind of have this warp, tilt, inner spiral thing. I actually really like that. So this one's of a movie theater, and it says, Toto, I have a feeling. Probably, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore because it's the Wizard of Oz, clearly. But, wow, look how creepy this one looks. It's got a very low lighting, and, you know, obviously it's a movie theater, so it's another area that you would expect to be populated. Versus something like the abandoned prison that we looked at earlier, or the airplanes. You're not going to see people floating in the sky. But yeah, no, this is very, very classic liminal, and I think it works really well. Here's something that just kind of trips me out. I don't really know what I'm looking at. It almost looks like an AI generated image. I don't know. Thank you, Red Seagull. So this one is by User Was Not Found. This was at the movies. Weird. Yeah, it is a little weird. It has like a very retro diner design. at this movie theater. I'm not sure as to why the lights are blue. I'm gonna assume that these lights are just turned off, and then maybe it's just from the floor that's giving it that blue look, because I don't actually see any blue lights or anything of the sort. It almost looks like a school cafeteria more than a movie theater cafeteria. And I don't know where this would be in a movie theater. I don't know what the purpose of this is, and that's probably why nobody's sitting there. Thank you, users not found. Okay, so here's one submitted by someone named Caracal, and then their images of a Caracal. Pretty cool. But I want to know why they have the NVIDIA shadow play thing turned on here in the corner. I don't know why they didn't just like yank it a little bit and just crop it out, because you would still have like the door and whatnot. But I think this is a very interesting photo. Obviously it's from some type of game. I don't know if they actually physically made this space and then took the photograph, or if they were just playing a game and figured, I'm gonna take a screenshot. And another thing is I don't know if they added the noise themselves, or if that was just part of the game. But either way, pretty liminal space photo. Very interesting. Thank you, Caracal. And then here we have one by Historically Insane, and they seem to take pictures of their school. They're pretty standard images, but I do like them. I do like them. I don't know. They have no people in them, so they obviously went here during a time where there was no people, and that's kind of a rarity. I don't know, especially when the weather is super nice like this. You'd expect, because I'm going to assume it's not during school hours, which means it's a weekend, and I don't know, there would still be people on the fields and running the tracks at my high school during the weekends. You know, you'd have every age range, just because you would have, you know, the older people who would probably run on the track, and then you'd have the younger kids who would be playing in the fields, playing soccer and whatnot. So it's just kind of strange to see these huge open fields on such a nice day, and just to see nobody. But maybe it's just not a popular thing to do, to go outside. But I probably like this one the best, just because it kind of has a thing that your eye can follow along, and it leads to this barn here. Has the most color variety as well. Thank you, Historically Insane. So lastly, I want to take a look at these images that Coops McGee submitted. They always submit quite the variety, and if you know from the continuity and liminal space images, they always try to find images that look similar or pair well together. The variety of images that I actually saw were quite different and pretty interesting. So we're going to go through them, starting with this image right here of a tiny little house. And just the scale of this image itself is probably what makes it feel so strange to me. Like, the image is just super tiny. Like, what is the purpose of this image being so small? And we continue on to this right here, which has a huge mist wall over it and just feels very unreal, especially with the house's design. I feel like this is something out of a TV show almost. Continuing down, we switch it up to this strange looking, I'm gonna assume it's like a mansion of some kind, like some rich person's architectural house, but it looks very fake. Just like this, right? Like, this could easily be real. This could just be some type of building out in a forest area, but the low quality of the image just makes these look like they're not real, or they're procedurally generated in some video game of some kind, and they're just these weird structures that just exist in the world. I mean, same with this one. Like, it just looks so derealized and fake. Like, ignoring this, you take these fake images, and I don't know. This is like its own art style in and of itself. Is these de-real images. I'd love to see more like this, where they're of real things, of real structures, and they look to be real, but then they're edited down to this, you know, crispy, low saturated, almost dark images. They continue to post some more too, some snow buildings as well, and these ones just feel so liminal. It's something about the white snow and the orange lighting, and sometimes with the blue skies, that really just, they're so beautiful and pretty to me, and have such a distinctive look compared to other liminal space images. This one is of a train moving. I just think that's just a great photo in general. It would make better for photography if it was not as blurry, but it's liminal, so it works. You have something like this, which is of a mall or a school of some kind, and it feels very nostalgic, because I always remember during snow nights I would go out and just I'd walk around because there'd be nothing to do, you know, and this is what buildings will look like during snowy nights, is though all the lights will be pointing, illuminating the buildings, but it'll be dark everywhere else around, and you just have this one building during a snowy night. I mean, you can see it with these other ones too. Clearly it's not snowing here, but this tree looks so fake. Is it like, what? But you can see how bright the buildings are, and it just almost looks ethereal with the white snow. Here we have a bus stop, and you have more orange lighting, and again, something as simple as a bus stop can just look so ethereal. Thank you, Coops, again, and thank you all for your submitting these images. I really enjoyed looking over them. If you couldn't tell, I'm not really following a script as I was for the other ones. I'm just kind of analyzing them as we go through it. Let me know how you feel about this format, and I hope to see you in the next video. As always, thank you for watching, and take care.